Alright guys, Papa Pepper here. Just going to do a short video today about why I do not immediately turn to Google for answers or to solve, give me answers to the questions that I got, that type of thing. I'm not just talking about when somebody is logged into their phone or logged in their personal PC and they are, Googling certain things, and everything they're looking at or everything they're Googling is getting put in some sort of database, linked to that person, used for whatever, data collection and nefarious purposes. I'm not talking about that. I'm also not talking about just trying to avoid being part of this upcoming generation where if the GPS doesn't work, they can't find Walmart and they starve to death. Okay, I'm not talking about that either. But what I'm talking about is that when I encounter certain situations in life, if I always turn to a source and ask Siri or Google something or look it up immediately, I have no time to think. I have no thought process that I'm going to be able to be a part of to use my brain to solve my own problems. And that's an issue that I don't want to get myself trained to do. I would like to be able to think. I would like to be able to be creative. I'd like to be able to solve my own problems. I'd like to be able to come up with something new that others haven't even created yet. So the current situation is I just picked up a bunch of lumber and I'm going to be building some chicken coops, some animal shelters, some sheds, some things like that, and I'm not a builder. Now, I've worked in construction before. I've done drywall, I've done roofing, I've done siding, I've done hardwood flooring, I've done a variety of things, but I've never just built from the ground up. So as far as structural integrity and how to build and stuff like that, just not where I'm at. But I've thought of a few things recently, and just because as I work, I contemplate on what I'm going to be working on later, I've come up with some good ideas, I think, in my mind. Now, the wood I'm dealing with is 1 inch and 1.5 inch oak. It's some large boards. They're heavy. It's going to last a long time. But for instance, if I looked up some building plans and just went, Google chicken coop plans or simple, chicken coop plans for idiots, and just came up with something, I'd have something and I would just go out and follow that and think this is how it's done. Now, for me, I'm going to drop some cedar posts in the ground, okay? And I'm going to use it where I attach a couple boards across to it. And then I just run some big boards on the outside, and where they overlap, I'm going to put a little thin board over that, okay? However, if I run every one of those boards down to the dirt, they're going to be constantly in contact with things like a lot of the elements at the ground level. Flash floods, rain, water, the manure, different things like that. And they're going to every single one of those boards will rot at the same time or run into problems at the same time. However, if when I bring down my vertical boards, I leave a space, okay, and it could be, 8 inches between them and the ground, they're never going to touch the ground or come in contact with that. And then on the outside, I can just run one big board along the outside of that structure, screw it in so it can be easily removed later. And, 5-10 years from now, if I run into some problems where the bottom board's rotting, I can take off one board, replace that one board, on each side, but still one board per side, and not really lose anything with the structure. If I ran them all upright straight to the ground, I'd have to replace them all. Now, I may even do a little bit of rock masonry around the bottom to get me up off the ground a little bit, but still I think that that's a fantastic plan. Also, if I'm using cedar posts in the ground, I run a board on the outside of that, okay? If I run one on the inside right there, that's going to create a little hollowed out place for rats and mice and rodents and snakes and stuff like that. However, if, say, halfway up I've got one on the outside and I run one on the inside, that's going to create a ledge, the depth of that post, where I'm going to be able, if I'm, say, putting some suspended cages, I'll just be able to set them on that ledge, support the other end, either from the ground or from the ceiling, and not even have to worry about like putting a whole table in or doing other things like that. And then one thing that I thought that was going to be good too is just to have a simple lean-to, structure, roof, where it's just one simple decrease in elevation, one flat roof from the front to the back leaning down. If I put my gutter system on the back, just a simple gutter, downspout into maybe a basin or a series of basins where there's a big one with a runoff into a little one, that can be part of their watering system where I'll have a lot less watering to do, because whenever it rains, those things will be filling up and being used and even potentially stored and then used for the animals. So I'm still working on these things, but I would never think through some of these things if I immediately Googled it. And my encouragement to you guys is to think about the things you're going to be up to. Just pause. I mean, you drive, you have trouble falling asleep at night, you do all sorts of things. Shut the television off for a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So kids are calling me. I gotta go. Bye. Pop out. Don't Google it. As always, I'm Papa Pepper, and I'd like to remind you, don't post for free. If you'd like to be part of a revolution in social media, an economic power to the people where users can actually blog for cryptocurrency, then I'd recommend that you check out Steemit.com and join the revolution. Papa out.